Entrepreneurs are a spark for change because they're not willing to just accept the status quo. They're not willing to just accept things as they are. So I think this is an extraordinary opportunity to get some of the top leaders in tech, in the startup community, some of the top entrepreneurs in the world really, to come together and tackle some of the problems that I think face the UN agencies here on a day-to-day basis. But these problems aren't just UN problems. These are problems that nonprofits face, and these are problems that we face in our own companies. I think it's just an opportunity to bring some bright minds together from a different side and share best practices. And already today, we've seen extraordinary collaboration between entrepreneurs in the startup space and what the UN is doing here. I've spent the last decade overseas, whether it was in Africa for 6 years, which I began in the Peace Corps, or the last 3.5 in Haiti. Along my journey, the UN has been a constant throughout, whether it's working with Peace Corps, when I was in the Peace Corps, whether it was working with the World Food Program, whether it's seeing peacekeepers and working with them, or working with UNICEF or OCHA. So if you're living and working overseas in the developing world, you're going to run into the UN at some point. And when you start to see some of the incredible work that the UN has done all over the world, it is inspiring. You want to be a part of it. You want to help make sure that all of the resources, all of the access that the UN has is directed into the best possible way. As with any organization, there are a tremendous amount of challenges, and I think the UN faces a lot of challenges. And for me personally, I want to help the UN be able to be the best possible agency they can be to the people all over the world. And part of that may be in crafting the messaging and crafting the story of what the UN is doing. Because I think if you're on the ground and you've seen, I'll start again. It's okay. I think if you're on the ground and you've seen the UN at work, you can't not be inspired. You can't not want to get involved in what they're doing. I've delivered rice a lot with the World Food Program. I've delivered tents with UNICEF. I've delivered school materials, all of them with different UN agencies. And it's inspiring, and I want to be a part of it. The UN is unique because of its sheer size and its sheer ability to really, really make big, big impacts around the world, both with communities and people and with policy and governments. Right now, it's a time where we're building Riot to be the one-stop place where young people can go and find out what's happening in the world and what they can do about it. So because we're running a 24-hour news network, I'm kept up by most global issues. I'm mostly kept up by my emails that come in all the time that are from friends all over the world who are telling me about something that's going on. I think if you're not kept up right now by what's happening with our environment, if you're not kept up by what's happening with elephants and rhinos in Africa, if you're not kept up by what just happened in Nigeria, if you're not kept up with what's happening in Syria, if that doesn't keep you up at night, there's something wrong. We should all be kept up every single night, trying so hard to get solutions to these. And solutions are possible. They've never been closer to our grasp, right? Like one of the great things about technology is that it gets us closer. People can now communicate across the world. I can tweet at somebody who's in a refugee camp outside of Syria. This should inspire us all to work harder every single day to strive to make the world a little bit better. Because now we have access like we've never had it before. There's no excuse not to understand fuller what your neighbor is doing. And we are, as the climate shifts, we are realizing how codependent we are on one another. What China does with their coal power plants affects what happens in Indonesia, and it affects what happens in Seattle. So knowing that this moment in history we're more connected than we've ever been before, both in terms of technology and access to communicate, but also in terms of how we affect each other with climate change, we should all be kept up at night striving for a better solution to this.